Hello, my name is Tyler Stone. I am the project director for the Native Connections Grant, where we focus primarily on substance abuse and suicide prevention amongst Natives 10 to 24 years old. I was given the opportunity to come and speak to you all about mental health, and I'm really excited to be here to talk to you about today's topic, which is it's time to get serious about our mental health. Now, 2020 was tough, obviously, and we're still seeing a lot of those impacts today. So I've been asked by a lot of people, and I myself have taken charge of my mental health. So I thought it'd be a really great opportunity for us to sort of just talk about mental health in general in a really quick video, and to talk about what are some ways that we can start to take charge and get serious about taking care of ourselves mentally. But before we talk about what mental health is, let's talk about what it isn't, because we see a lot of terms like crazy that are thrown out there a lot. We've heard the terms like that person's crazy or that person's nuts, right? And I want us to kind of get away from terms like that. We also hear when people are experiencing a mental health condition or mental health issue, they may see themselves as being broken and maybe permanently broken. Some people may feel like whatever it is that they're experiencing, that they're going to be experiencing for the rest of their lives. They may feel unworthy of love, right? So we might start seeing people kind of isolate from other people, such as friends or family or meaningful relationships, because they may have believed that stigma that people who have a mental health issue or condition are unworthy of love, or that they're dangerous. And that's a huge stigma that we've heard a lot of times, that if somebody has a mental health issue, that they are dangerous. But most of the time when people have a mental health issue, they're typically more dangerous to themselves than they are other people. We hear that it's forever, right? We hear that a lot of times people may think that I'm always going to feel this way. I'm going to be broken forever, crazy forever, unworthy of love for the rest of my life. But these are honestly just labels that we've heard time and time again. And what these labels do is they reinforce this stigma, this mental health stigma, and that decreases people's feelings of wanting to reach out for help, right? Or it may decrease people's feelings of wanting to help somebody who may have a mental health issue. So I want us to really just get away from these labels here that we've kind of put on those who have a mental health issue, and start looking at different ways of framing that. So let's talk about what mental health is. Mental health is actually a component that is associated with three other components of our overall health. When I ask you if you are healthy, 9 times out of 10, we usually associate that word healthy with something physical. A lot of times we may think, are you eating a healthy diet? Do you have a healthy weight? Are you exercising daily, right? We always kind of think more of the health-centered areas of health. But not only is there physical health or mental health, but there's also emotional health that's attached to that, and also spiritual health. And sometimes we may be really locked in on our physical health or spiritual health, but maybe we're having some issues with our mental health and emotional health, or vice versa, right? So I want us to start looking at mental health as not only just our health that's happening upstairs, but also our physical health that's tied into that as well, our spiritual health and our emotional health. So what we may be asking ourselves too is, when does my mental health become a problem, right? What are some of those warning signs? What are some of those behaviors or moods or symptoms that I kind of have to look out for, right? Let's go over a few of those really quick. If we start seeing a lot of excessive sleeping or not being able to sleep, that could be a sign that you could have depression, right? We may see a lot of fear, maybe more than usual. We've seen a lot of fear in the past couple of years because of the pandemic, fear of getting sick, or maybe being sick and then giving it to someone else. And with that's come a lot of anxiety. We're seeing a lot of people anxious these days. And anxiety's been around for forever, but we're seeing it more and more today. And I think we're becoming more aware and more open to talking about mental health. So that's why we're starting to see conversations about anxiety Um, but just in the past few years, we've seen a lot of anxiety go up, especially in the past couple of years. And with that, we're also seeing a lot of worry. Somebody who is constantly worrying about the future, right? Or worrying about the past coming back to haunt us in some way. Anger is another thing we see a lot of. Anger could be kind of a form of depression for some people. A lot of times, depression isn't people that have a hard time getting out of bed or who lack some of the motivation to do what they used to enjoy doing. It could be in the form of anger. You may notice people, or you may notice yourself having problems concentrating or just kind of zoning out. You're just kind of on autopilot, where you're kind of in this funk. You have a lot of brain fog. We sometimes see people who experience self-harm. A lot of times, people who are using self-harm, it's a way of coping with whatever it is they have going on internally. A lot of times people feel numb and they want to feel something, so they turn to self-harm, such as cutting. Or we may see outbursts, right? And, sometimes you may not notice that these outbursts are as big as they may seem, right? Until you kind of take a step back and think, oh, my fuse is a little bit shorter than usual, right? Or the pot of water is starting to get hotter a lot faster, so I'm getting more angry, or it's boiling a lot faster than it used to, right? These could be some warning signs that it may be time for us to start taking care or taking charge of our mental health, right? I like this picture right here of the half car. You don't see this a lot, obviously, but we do see that this car is cut, and the only thing that we see in this picture is the front of the car. Now, we can assume that the engine is still in there, the steering wheel is there. This car would probably run, and it'd probably get us a little bit where we need to go, but of course it would be tilted. But it's still not going to, but let's imagine that this car is only fueled by our physical health and our spiritual health. It's going to run, but it's not going to run as good as it needs to, right? So when we're not taking care of our mental or emotional health, it's kind of like we're driving a car that's missing half of the car. So how do we take charge of our mental health? What are some things that we can do? Now, there's a lot of different things that we can do, and we'll explore those in a minute, but just know that everyone's level of where their mental health is at is vastly different. So just kind of keep that in mind. Here's some quick solutions that you can start working on yourself. Talking about your feelings, opening up about what's going on is really, really important. And a lot of us kind of do this already. We may call it venting, right? And I'm sure that most of you who have vented to somebody before, you probably felt a lot better after venting, or as I like to call processing, afterwards, if you felt that that person that you were talking to or venting to was listening, right? This is what it's like talking about your feelings with people that you trust, right? Because if I vent to somebody, or if I'm communicating what I'm going through to somebody and they're on their phones the whole time, I'm probably not going to feel much better. In fact, I may feel worse because I feel further isolated and I feel like people don't care. Exercising is another really important topic, as our solution as well. Again, maybe we're already exercising, but we need to do a little bit more, or maybe we're not exercising at all. And that's something that could really benefit our mental health. Exercising doesn't have to be go get a gym membership today and start bench pressing 200 pounds. That doesn't have to be it. This could be going for walks, eventually going for runs if you want to. It could be going to the gym. Eating healthy foods. This doesn't have to be a very restrictive diet where you cut out all the candy in the world, but maybe cut back on some of it, right? Maybe start introducing more nutritional foods into your diet, taking vitamins and what have you. Minimizing alcohol intake. We see a lot of people who may be increasing their alcohol intake to kind of help cope with some of the mental health issues that they're experiencing. We know that can be pretty damaging. Alcohol is actually a depressant. So even though we think it's maybe making us not think about what's going on in our lives, it's actually kind of making those feelings worse. We want to make sure that we're staying connected with friends and family and even ourselves. Make sure we're giving them calls. Make sure we're seeing them, right? If it's healthy or if it's safe to do so. Connecting with our families, right? Again, phone calls. There's, you can Skype or Zoom, or you can FaceTime, and connecting with yourself, right? And I think having some time alone in your day, if you can, is really important. Finding something that you like to do, some kind of self-care activity. Reaching out for help is really important as well. Some of us kind of struggle with reaching out for help because a lot of times we may feel like we're a burden to other people, or we feel like nobody really wants to listen to what it is that I have going on. But I would encourage you to try to reach out to for help. Find those family or friends that you may have in your life that can help you out, or even counseling services, right? Maybe you can benefit from talking to a counselor once a week or once every 2 weeks or so, right? There's a lot of different counseling services that are available in your area, hopefully wherever it is that you're watching this. If you're around the Muskogee Nation Reservation, we have 5 different clinics and we do outpatient therapy for those that have a CDIB card. But there's also a vast array of community mental health. And there's a lot of different online resources as well that offer online counseling for you too. And practicing gratitude. Gratitude, really just the act of writing down things or saying things that you're grateful for every single day. Anytime I'm working with somebody who's experiencing stress or anxiety or any kind of mental health issue, I always encourage them to practice gratitude. And what that looks like is I usually give them a journal, or I ask them to get a journal and every day write down 3 things that they're grateful for. And try to mix it up where you're not writing the same 3 things down every single day. And it can be things such as, I'm thankful that I have internet because it allows me to work from home, or it allows me to research self-care activities. Or it could be, I'm grateful for my family, or I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. And what this starts to do, and we've seen the research, when somebody practices gratitude for about 21 days, their brain actually starts to rewire itself into being more strength-based, into being more grateful for some of those things that we do have in our lives, as opposed to focusing on some of the things that we don't have. Now, once you get great at practicing gratitude, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have bad days where things can seem really heavy and things can seem like they are going to last forever in that moment. Some of those feelings are going to come up. But when you're able to practice gratitude and your brain starts to look more positive, you're able to kind of work through some of those feelings, some of those hard emotions that you may experience a lot easier, because you've been practicing gratitude, because you've been able to look towards some of the positives, right? Even in the face of the negativity. Here are just some final words that I want to leave with you all today. One of the most important things is to take it one day at a time. Anytime you're wanting to take charge of your health, whether that's physical, emotional, spiritual, or mental, it's going to take time. And after your first therapy appointment, or after your first day of writing gratitude, it's not going to kind of fix everything all in that same day. It can be very impactful on that first day, but it's going to take a little bit of time, right? If I'm wanting to go and, run 5 miles and I haven't ran in 5 years, I'm probably not going to get that far, because I'm not going to be, my cardio isn't going to be in the shape it needs to be to run that far, right? But if I stay consistent and I work at it and I start to build that endurance and start building those muscles and my lungs start to get stronger, I'm going to be able to do that through time and time. Same thing goes for mental health. I always want to encourage people to be kind to yourself. A lot of us beat ourselves up about mistakes that we've made, or we set expectations that are just way too high, right? For whatever reason, sometimes we believe some of those negative labels that we've heard before, and they start to become true to us, but they don't have to be. So I want to encourage you to just be kind to yourself. Know that whatever it is that you're working on, that it's a work in progress. It takes time, and that things can get better. Find healthy activities that work for you. This doesn't have to be physical activities. When I say healthy activities, this can be any kind of activity that helps you decrease stress or anxiety or depression, right? These are coping skills, things that help me cope with some of life's stressors that I may experience on a day-to-day basis. And like I mentioned just a minute ago, remind yourself that things can get better, that whatever it is that you're feeling doesn't have to last forever, that hope is available, that things can change, that you can learn how to cope with some of the things that you may be experiencing. These are some of the references that I talked about today. I want to extend a huge mado to all of you for listening and spending time with me during this presentation. Again, my name is Tyler Stone. If you ever need to contact me, my name is Tyler. My email is tyler.stone@creekhealth.org. Our phone number is 918-758-1930. Just to reiterate, we do outpatient counseling for natives who have a CDIB card. We're open Mondays through Friday from 8 to 5. And again, we're at the Muskogee Creek Nation Behavioral Health. Thank you all again. I hope you have a great day. I hope that you found this helpful and that you can start taking charge of your mental health starting today. Thank you so much.